Hey, sisters. Welcome back to another episode of Reverse Engineering, your Pain to Power podcast. I am so excited that you are here for today's episode, and I just know that this one is going to be so helpful. So let's get into the details. Let's break everything down so that you can leave this feeling extremely empowered and also just understanding the role that you've played in all of your pain. This podcast is specifically centered around reverse engineering your pain into your power, as shown in the title, right? In the name of the podcast. But I genuinely want you guys to start processing the ways that you can turn your pain into your power. You are an alchemist, sister. You have the power to turn anything around. And when you realize that and you embody this alchemist energy where you're focused on transmuting things, that is when everything in your life will change. And I say it all the time. I am living proof of this. If I talked about everything that I've been through in my life on this podcast, you guys would be like, Lay, how are you literally so strong? How are you so confident? How do you just act like nothing ever happened? And it's because I transmuted that pain. I reversed engineered that pain and was like, you know what? I'm going to use this to make me stronger, to make me hotter, to make me richer, etc. And that is exactly what has happened in my life. So I want that for my sisters, honestly. And I wish there was like just one specific blueprint, but there's not just one answer because all of us have gone through different things. We've experienced different traumas, different relationships, different losers, whatever it is. And so, my goal over here on the podcast is that I give you the tools and resources to process your own journey, because I understand it. I'm like, we all coming from different backgrounds. Some of my sisters were married. Some of my sisters got babies. Some of my sisters are young and turned, and just outside, a little bit like me. Okay, the baby's gonna come. Give me some time, sisters. Okay, give a bitch some few years. But I know we are all walking our own journeys, and my only goal through this podcast is that I can plant seeds inside of my sisters, especially the sisters who need it, the ones who are, kind of in the dark. They don't know what the next steps are, or they're processing something that they feel like they can't get over. Sister, over here on this podcast, I'm gonna get you in line. Okay, you come here and listen to these episodes and you play season 1 and season 2, you gonna be good. And if you keep coming back, oh baby, life gonna get real good because I am literally dropping seeds every single episode and I'm channeling so much energy to my sisters, so many prayers, so much love and just abundance to you all. So trust and believe that even just listening to my voice is going to make such a big difference in your internal world. And if you actually go out in this world and apply this shit I'm talking about, sister, you're going to be unstoppable. You are going to be bulletproof. And then somehow you're going to get your dream life and you're going to look up and be like, oh, how did this happen? It happened because you did the work, sister. It's because you didn't settle and you focused on yourself and you refused to accept anything that you did not truly desire at your core. Okay? So that's the goal over here. I know a lot of you all come and listen to episodes all the time, but if you're new here, sister, I just want to reiterate, bitch, we lock in over here. We get everything we want out of this life. We don't settle for anything. And even beyond that, sister, we ain't going for nothing. Okay, so let's get into the topic of today's episode. I am so excited to be here, y'all. I'm just excited to be here talking to y'all today on this mic, whatever it is. I do need to go live tomorrow, so make sure you tune into the live. But the topic of today's episode is walking karma. Okay, and a lot of my sisters don't just understand this. You guys are not able to quite conceptualize this concept, so I knew this was the perfect topic for today's episode. But sister, you were just walking karma. And I think sometimes we have a hard time accepting that because we experience our own depth of pain or we process things, internally as well. But sometimes you got to look at things from a bird's eye perspective or a bird's eye viewpoint, right? Have you ever considered the fact that maybe you were just walking karma? Have you ever thought about the fact that maybe you were intentionally sent into that person's life as their karma? And I'm saying, regardless of what they did to you, regardless of what you experienced, what you went through, have you ever sat down and thought about the fact that even despite everything that person put you through, you were there walking karma? Okay. And even if you haven't, sister, today's episode is going to open your eyes to that concept and the fact that that might be a possibility in your case. Now, this isn't going to apply to all of my sisters, but I am confident that a very, very large percentage of my sisters were walking karma for a lot of these losers. And even though we were hurt and we got our little hearts broken, I am confident, sister, that you were sent into that person's life for a reason. And that by you exiting and choosing yourself and walking away, you are the karma of a lifetime. That is the ultimate get back, because now they will have to suffer indefinitely just because you're no longer there. Okay, so let's break this down. Let's talk about this, sister, because some of y'all don't be wanting to believe me. And I'm like, sister, you are just their karma. You're like, no, but he hurt me so bad and he did it. And I'm like, okay, Ian, he did all that shit to you. And still, who is winning in the end, bitch? You walking away and leaving him alone? And I don't even care if he walked away from you. You coming up off that man, point blank, period, is the revenge of a lifetime. That is his karma. Him losing you is the greatest karma that he could ever experience, because now he fucked over the best thing that happened to him and he has to live with it. He has to run through all of these other women that will never fulfill him. He has to chase things that will never fulfill him. He is literally a loser and he has to live with it forever now. Okay. And I know this is so crazy. And you guys hear me talk about my dad from here and there. And I know this is crazy because you guys hear me talk about my dad, in some of the episodes, but this is my biological father that I'm referencing. And just knowing the things that he put my mom through and knowing the kind of man that he is and observing his life since I was a little girl, right? I realized these men, they don't ever recover from these things. And I talk about my dad here and there, but sisters, I'm going to reiterate my point here yet again. My dad is a loser. And that's so hard to admit because obviously I am 50% of him, right? But he's a loser. He's like your typical definition of a loser. Absolutely dragged my mom through the mud. She had 2 young babies under the age of 2 with him. This man decided to move across the country after she gave birth to me. And his life has literally suffered since. And he makes great money. Okay. I want to point that out because a lot of you guys feel like, oh, well, he's successful and his business is still doing well. And he has a wife and he has cars and stuff. My dad is extremely successful. Okay. And that's something that I was able to observe as a little girl. I saw that this man had a booming career and he had all kinds of nice cars. This man was balling out of control, but genuinely did my mom in the worst way. And he has suffered since. It doesn't matter how much money he makes. It doesn't matter how many hot women or bad bitches that he pulls. That man is internally miserable. And it's been something that I've been able to pick up on so long. So the fact that I'm able to come over here and speak on it on my podcast just amazes me because I lived this. This was secondhand embarrassment for me as a little girl. I saw my dad, a very successful, very attractive, very tall, handsome, extremely gorgeous teeth, the perfect smile. You would think he was the perfect man. But if you ever got to know that man below what he chooses to present, you would realize just how fucking empty he is inside. And I truly believe that my mom played such a huge role in that. When she chose to walk away from him, even after everything he did to her, I'm telling y'all, this man dogged my mom out between the years of 1997 and 2002, maybe even a smaller window period, right? But he shitted on my mom. He did everything in his power to destroy my mom and then decided to move across the country, run from his child support payments, marry a new woman, start a new family. He did everything possible And that shit has came back and destroyed his entire life. Like, he's never been able to find peace. He's never had a successful, happy, fruitful relationship. And I can tell he's miserable. Just being around him, growing up around him, I can tell that he will never be fulfilled. And it's because of what one woman did. Because my mom walked away from him, he has been empty since. And it's because she rejected him. It's because he could no longer destroy her or do the things that he did to her. And she didn't even care anymore. So, in many ways, I believe that my mother was walking karma for my biological father. And I could go on forever and ever today about their story. I don't want to get into too many details. And maybe I just need to bring my mom on this podcast because this woman is just so amazing, and obviously my mom gets on my nerves just like anybody else's, but I love her. But this lady literally is the foundation of everything that I know, especially when it comes to this reverse engineering your pain into power thing. Like, imagine growing up and watching your mom be an example of that. My mom walked away from that man, found my stepdad who raised me as his own child, and lived happily ever after. My mom has been married over 20 years now. Bills paid, ain't worried about nothing, got her provider and protector, ain't been stressed about a man since she left my dad alone. And you want to know where my dad is? 12:12 on the clock as I said that. He is somewhere miserable, still running through bitches, thinking that he's the man when nothing has truly ever worked out for him since he did the things that he did to my mom. Okay, so I don't want you to get too ahead of yourself. Y'all be like, oh, well, he still has a career. My dad to this day still makes more money than my mom. And he's fucking miserable. Okay, money is not the end all. You can make a lot of money and still be empty inside. You could have a huge house. You could have several fleets of cars. And if you're miserable internally, it will always spill out onto everyone around you. So maybe you were just his walking karma, and that's what we're going to break down in today's episode, because I truly believe it in this case, especially seeing it with my mother and just even my past relationships and some of the losers that I dated. I genuinely feel like I was walking karma for a lot of the men that I dealt with. And at the time, did I understand this concept? Absolutely not. I didn't even know that I could walk into somebody's life and that they could hurt me and that me removing myself would be the karma of a lifetime. I didn't understand that. But the older I get and the more that I observe things and I just read the room, I'm like, oh my gosh, some women are literally sent into a man's life as that lesson. They are the karma and they have to live with it forever and just have to think about the fact that they fucked over the one person that would have done anything for them. Baby, that's karma. If you don't know what karma is, that is karma. Literally having to live with that, having to eat that shit up for the rest of your life. And that's where my dad is. He got married again. He had a whole nother family. Where are they at today? They're gone. Because nothing he does is successful due to the fact that he fucked over the one person who would have done anything for him. And y'all need to start understanding that in y'all own personal situations. Y'all be so caught up on the fact that your little heart is broken. Bitch, I get it. Okay, but if I were to tell you what's down the line, if I were to tell you what's coming into your life, you would be like, okay, Lay, I get exactly what you're saying. I need to tighten up and get my act together. Because I'm crying and holding on to a loser. I'm holding on to somebody who did nothing for me but caused more pain and trauma in my life. So let's start getting into that mode, sister, where you shift your mindset and perspective. I don't care how much you love that past loser. You need to understand that the best is yet to come. Okay, it's getting better than you could have ever imagined, but the only way for us to get you there is by holding on. I don't care what it takes. You have to walk away. You have to completely close that door and fuck it, bolt it down if you need to. I be telling y'all, like, there is no turning back. There is no even looking back in your rearview mirror. You have to keep moving forward on your journey and trust that the best is yet to come, that this man, this soulmate, this person, or this career, or this lifestyle, whatever it is on its way to you. And it's only going to come when you refuse to settle for the things that are robbing you of your mental sanity and peace. So I want to talk about this today, sisters. And I really want you to think about the fact that that man never thought you would bounce back. He never thought that you were going to be able to pick yourself back up after everything he put you through. And a lot of them never even imagine it. They're just like, oh, I broke her to her lowest, or I disposed her or discarded her at that point. She's going to still be there when I come back around looking for her, or when I'm ready to all of the sudden be the man that she needs me to be. They don't think you're ever going to bounce back. They don't think that you're going to pick your pieces back up and put them back together and become a new version of yourself that's evolved and healed. Okay? That man is literally banking on your breakdown. He's banking that you will fold and return to that relationship. But in order to be that man's karma, sister, like I said at the beginning of this episode, you are the walking karma. You cannot fold. You have to stand 10 toes. You have to destroy that man by doing absolutely nothing. And that's the crazy part about it. Like, you are going to break him so bad, and it's not even going to take you having to do anything. You don't got to cuss him out. You don't got to crash out. You don't got to, pop his tires. You don't got to key his car. You don't have to do anything. The karma is literally you leaving him in silence, closing the door and saying, I'm done. You don't even have to tell him. Hell, you can come tell me, sister. But you just decide internally, I am done with this man, and I am not going to give him another fucking day of my life to waste. A lot of times they want you to be bitter, sister. They want you to be in this state where you are giving them the reaction that they are trying so hard to pull out of you. But when you know that you're somebody's karma, you just bow out gracefully. You say, you know what? You might have had me. You might have got over me. You played in my face. Yes, you did certain things that I just never was able to pick up on because I was a genuine person to you. But you know what's going to sting even worse is the fact that I'm walking out of your life and I'm going to act like you never existed. I'm going to act like this didn't even faze me. And eventually that act will become your reality, sisters. And I'm not saying just act like it and avoid the healing process. That's not what I'm saying here. I'm saying act like it until it becomes your physical reality. They say it all the time. You have to fake it till you make it. So if you got to fake the fact that you have put yourself back together and that you're healed, do that until you feel it 100% in your mind, body, and spirit. What y'all think I did? It was several months that I had to grieve some of those losers, that I cried, that I mourned the relationship. But you think I was going to show my hand to that man? You think I was going to lay it out on the floor like, oh, I'm so heartbroken and you did everything in your power to destroy me and you won? Fuck no. That man would never see a tear roll down my eyes. And it's so crazy because that's from the song Sorry by Beyonce. Sister, go listen to that. That song, I was actually listening to it the other day and it was busting. And she was like something about suicide before you see a teardrop roll down my eyes. I think I might be fucking up the lyrics. I'm not going to lie. But literally, I was like, that is so me. Like, you will never see tears fall down my eyes because of what you did to me. Nope, I'm just going to leave you. I'm going to come up off you, act like you didn't exist. And you're going to be sitting somewhere wondering, did she ever even like me? Did she ever even care about me? Because that is what they want out of you, sisters. They want you to do this big, rah-rah where you're crashing out, cussing them out, doing all of these things to prove that you love them so much when the whole time it's just a circus. You are a monkey in that man's circus and you don't even know it. We are under spells, people. We are under spells. Okay, so when you bounce back, sister, and you glow up and you lock in, especially while you're on that healing journey, that person is going to be so confused because they thought they could break you. They thought that you were going to be destroyed all because of the things that they put you through in that relationship. And the crazy part is, because this is what really tends to happen, the tables turn and they start to feel everything they put you through. All of a sudden, it's no fun. And you want to know why, sister? It's because you have the gun. It ain't no fun when you got the gun, sis. And I used to say that all the time to myself. I'm like, it ain't no fun when Lay got the gun. So if you need to say that to yourself, say it. Okay? One thing about me, I'm going to lock in on the affirmations. Say that if that's something that you genuinely need to put into your brain every single day until you realize that the only reason this person is not having any fun anymore is because you have the upper hand. You are now choosing yourself. You are now removing yourself from their life. And they're not going to be able to live with that because they thought that they could destroy you forever. When you finally decide to come up off them, they're going to have to feel you. And I want to note this, sisters, because a lot of y'all be feeling like this is going to happen overnight. No, this is a very long embedded process. And I'm over here talking with my engineering brain, LOL. My sisters who've been here for a minute, y'all get it by now. But this is an integration process, right? These things have to be integrated. So this can take several months before it is truly processed and that person is having to sit with the emotions and the reality that you are fucking done. It's going to take some time. I'm telling y'all, like, it's been years later that men have reached out to me and been like, oh, I really loved you, Lay, and I want to fix things and I miss you and I would love for another chance at us. Us? Nigga, us? Who the fuck is us? So it could take some time, and that's not your job to sit around and wait for that person to have that light bulb moment. You should be focused on yourself, moving on with your life and bossing up so that you're never even at their level ever again. But I'm telling you, it happens regardless of how long they want to push it off for or how long they decide to be an avoidant for. It is going to happen. And that man is going to have to sit with the fact that he tortured you and that he hurt somebody who genuinely just wanted to love him. That is the karma of a lifetime. Imagine losing somebody who would have done anything for you. That's karma in itself. Okay, so when you finally choose yourself and you say like, deuces, I'm done dealing with this. I'm done begging you to choose me. I'm done begging for commitment or the bare minimum. That is when most men are finally forced to deal with everything that they put you through. And that's going to sting a lot longer than the pain that you're processing just from that relationship. You know, because I'm not invalidating your pain, sister. I know that you went through what you went through. Hell, I have my own stories, right? But what if I told you that those stories were just preparing you for your destiny? It was preparing you for your actual soulmate. And the fact that you finally have chosen yourself and walked away is putting you in position to now reap the benefits and the desires that you have in your life. Delete that segment. But what if I told you that it was all a part of the plan? What if I told you that them breaking your heart was actually meant to happen so that you could finally go through this healing journey and walk the fuck away from somebody who would have destroyed you forever? Okay, so you have to understand how karma really works, sisters. And there's no, exact formula. But at the end of the day, what goes around comes around. Okay, it's almost like spiritual math. And this is my favorite way to conceptualize it. Y'all can hear it in my voice when I get excited about talking about stuff because I just started talking so fast. Oh my gosh. But I want you to start thinking of this as spiritual court. And it's so funny because I literally open court cases on these men. And not literally, but literally, sisters. So we're going to break this down for a little bit. This is like spiritual court. You know how we have court over here in the 3D where when people do things and they commit crimes, they eventually have to go to court, etc., etc. That is what happens in the spiritual realm when people play with you down here on earth. Okay, so not a detail is missed. You've almost built a RICO case on this man. By you walking away, choosing yourself, bowing out gracefully and saying, I'm cool off this man, the charges are essentially being filed. So I want you to think of this as like this huge timeline. And this is kind of crazy. So we're going to break this down for a few minutes, sisters. Hold on with me, okay? When you finally walk away, as in close the door and really choose yourself and say, I'm done, that is the date that your charges are filed for this spiritual court case, right? And same things happen when you have an actual incident in real life. And I'll use this example because this happened to me a few years ago. But I got in a car accident with a commercial bus. Oh my gosh, this was the craziest thing that ever happened to me, sisters. But I was driving down the street one day and a fucking bus turned into my car as I was turning as well. Thank God I made it out alive. That was one of the scariest things I've ever experienced in my life. And my car didn't have like any major damages. But baby, I've never in my life just been driving down the street and seen a bus turning into my car. Scary as fuck, I will not lie. But anyways, this bus hits my car, right? It was this long process of me going to the hospital, going to therapy appointments, getting a lawyer, all of these things. And that process was like a full year. It's kind of crazy, but that entire case, that was a year long. And the incident happened, way before I ever received any payout for it. And that's why I'm using this example. I'm trying to explain how the timing of things work. A lot of times it is going to take a full year or more before you receive your payouts. And it's kind of crazy how things work, but this is how I've seen it play out in my life so many times. So when I got in that accident, boom, things happened. Got a lawyer, things were starting to be put in place, but it was a full year before that case was fully processed, and the decision had been made about who was at fault and who was going to get paid out. And obviously a bitch got paid out because it wasn't my fault. I got hit by a bus, but that was a full year-long process. So how I want you to see this, sisters, is that when you finally walk away from that man, that is the day that the case is kind of opened. It's like the incident has officially happened. Even though you were being tortured in that entire relationship, the day that you walk away and close that door, the charges are being filed. And I saw this shit happen in my life. So I'm being so transparent right now, literally. The day you walk away, charges are filed, right? So now we're in spiritual court. God's handling things. We got your spirit guides up there. We got your ancestors, your angels, whatever you consider, protecting you in this room. They are present and they are essentially your lawyers. And then you got your loser ex who's obviously going against you. And he has his own team too, right? But at the end of the day, the truth is going to come out, and the best thing about God and just the spiritual realm in general is that you can't lie. You can't hide these things from God, or just the universe in general. You can't fake this. Everything that happened was seen, okay? Similar to any other instances that you go through in life. You can't just brush this under the rug and be like, oh, okay, yeah, I fucked that girl over, but I'm just going to move on with my life and start dating other women. You can do it in the 3D realm, but it's going to come back and bite you in the ass in the 5D realm or in the spiritual realm, just in general. So when you go through these things and you finally walk away and initiate this court case, it might be a full year before things start to really get into action. And I know it's kind of insane, but that is just how things typically play out in this world. It's not instantly. It doesn't happen overnight. When I was in my court case, that was a long ass year. And after that long year, I finally received my settlement. And I didn't know when it was coming. I just kind of was like, hey, it happened. I'm in therapy. I'm moving on with my life. But trust me, when that settlement came, I was on top of the fucking world because I was finally receiving the justice for the things that I had went through an entire year ago. So sisters, stop being so dead set on the fact that it's not happening right now. Give it some time. Let things pan out. It may even be more than a year. And I think if it's longer than a year, that just is a sign that you are receiving more justice than you can even imagine. The longer, the better. And they'll tell you this in any other case. I'm going to give you guys examples from my accident. The longer that I was in therapy, the more that I got paid out. So the fact that I was in therapy for almost a full year actually increased my payout. So imagine if you're in therapy from that man for over a year. The payout is just increasing. You're essentially running that bill up. Okay, and some of you guys might not understand these exact examples because you've never been in a car accident or a court case in general. But when you go to therapy, sisters, or you're having to be, in some kind of remediation for any kind of thing, it is adding to the bill. It's running the bill up. And that's the bill that the insurance companies are going to have to pay, or just that person who was at fault is going to have to pay in general. So that's how I want you to start seeing this journey between you healing and getting your settlement, which is your new life, your new man, your new home, your new car, whatever it is, because I feel like you can get everything new, sister. That's what I did. I was like, I want everything new. And God was like, I got you. Bet. Let me give you a whole new life, and everything you want, got it. So you are literally putting yourself in that position to reap this brand new life, and that person is going to have to pay out. Okay? They're going to have to. And sometimes the spiritual realm moves a little bit slower than the 3D realm because we're on different time zones, literally, but it's coming. So keep your faith. Focus on the fact that you are in that period where you're healing yourself and your settlement is coming. I don't care if it takes a year, 2 years, 5 years. I don't care. The longer it takes, the larger the settlement. And I'm not talking about cars no more, sisters. Okay? So that is typically how karma works in the spiritual realm, in spiritual court. These people don't get away with the things that they put you through. God sees all. The universe sees all. So when they even try to gaslight themselves into the fact that they were a good person to you or that they really loved you, trust and believe God has a track record of everything that person did to you and everything that you did to them. Because I'm going to be totally honest. I probably could have got a larger settlement from some of my past losers, but the problem is I was cheating back. I never gave a damn. You cheat on me, I'm going to take you back. I'm going to cheat on you. I'm going to do you worse. What's that song by Ice Spice? Ice Spice. Oh my gosh. If he cheat on me, I can't even think of the lyrics. That is so crazy. I can't think of the lyrics, but there's a song by why do I keep fucking her name up? I'm so sorry, sisters. There is a song by Ice Spice where she's like, if he cheating, I'm cheating, or I'm doing him worse. And that's me. So I probably could have got larger settlements, but I was, distracted, cheating back, doing things I didn't have no business doing. And that might have delayed some of the process, but trust and believe I still got that settlement. I still got that new life. I got new everything. And look at where my life is today. It's like you can't convince me that I did not receive the settlement of a lifetime by filing those charges and letting God handle it. I left it to the spiritual realm. I said, okay, I'll see you in spiritual court, ho. You thought you got over me? Wait till we meet again in court, but not in the 3D realm. And that's what typically happens. You don't even see these things playing out for you in real timing. Okay. It's like something that's happening to you, but it's not happening in your physical 3D reality, but it's happening. Regardless of you thinking it is or not, it is happening, sister. And you just need to focus on being in alignment and healing so that when your settlement comes, you are prepared to take on this new life. That is where you should be focused right now. Don't worry about the fact that he's having a good time and he running the streets and, just living his best life. That is very short-lived. And he might be having the time of his life, but I'm telling you, when that payout come, he's going to feel you in every single capacity. Okay, so focus on using this time to reclaim your energy, your time, your destiny. You are literally in alignment for a brand new life. But if you keep tapping back into the old life, you're never going to get there. You are that man's walking karma. So you want to know what your job is, sister? Your job is becoming the woman that he could never recover from. You should be the woman that he thinks about indefinitely. I don't care if he got a new wife. I don't care if he got kids. I don't care if he done moved and started a new career and is just living his best life. You will be the woman that he could never recover from because you finally let his ass go. And you let him go because your sister Lay cussed you out enough that you finally chose to do it and stand 10 toes. Okay, and I know some of the credit goes to you, sister. I'm proud of you. I love you. But damn, I had to come on here and cuss you out every damn day to get you to do it. Whew. Okay, so become the woman that he can't recover from. And it's not because you did all these crazy things and crashed out on him. It's because you finally chose yourself and you left with no explanation. You said, fuck this, I'm out. I could care less. I'm letting you go live the life that you want so bad. And when you finally realize that you don't want it no more, you cannot come home to me, bitch. No, stay there. Enjoy it for life. Okay? So I'm telling you, sister, he probably will try to spin the block, and he will probably eventually realize that, okay, so stop focusing on the fact that he might be living his best life right now. This is literally the setup for him. Spiritual court is in session, and God is looking at that man right now like, yep, you are literally just doing the opposite of everything that I told you. You are going backwards, sir. You out here in the streets again, drinking, using substances, whatever it is. You are so distracted, on top of the fact that you hurt my baby girl. I don't play about my children. So trust, sisters, he will be dealt with, whether it's in this 3D world or in the 5D world. He is going to be dealt with. And that's not even your job to handle it. Just leave it all to the spiritual court and say, you know what? I'm going to heal and become a version of myself that he will never have access to again. That's your closure. Your closure is you getting a brand new life that's without him, and one that's more fulfilling than anything that he could have ever given you, because he was a fucking loser. You are now in the position to get the soft life. You can get the peace. You can get the power. You can get the new man. You can get everything. And it's because you chose yourself and came up off a man who would have wasted your time forever if you let him. Okay? So let him do him. Let him play them mind games over there. You focus about the 5D. You focus on spiritual court. You need to realize that it's not your battle to fight anymore. You are the walking karma. The fact that you came into that man's life and loved on him that well and gave him all of the things that you did and just poured into him that much, he is going to feel you forever. You walking away from him and finally coming up off him is going to be the karma of a lifetime. That's something that he can't even escape if he wanted to. Okay? And I see it happen so many times. I told y'all about the story with my mom and my dad. I've seen it in my own life. I've came into some men's life and literally gave them a taste of something that they never even experienced before. It's like going from fresh strawberries to like strawberry syrup or something. Like once you experience fresh fruit, fresh strawberries, you're not going to want to go back to that syrup shit. Is the syrup sweet and tasty? Yes, but there is nothing that compares to fresh fruit, fresh strawberries. Okay? And so sometimes that's what we are in these men's lives. We come in to set the stage and show them just how good it can get, and then we snatch it back and they never get to experience that high again. And they will have withdrawals forever because the one person that came into their life and showed them the best that they ever got to experience is now gone forever. That's something you got to live with every single day and process indefinitely, regardless of if you think you found new love again or you got a new career or you moved or whatever it was. You will haunt that man forever, and it's because you were a good woman to him. It's because you were genuine and you loved him. And he was too much of a loser to see it at the time, but now he has to live with the repercussions of that forever. And I think that's enough karma for a lifetime. So instead of being so caught up on the fact that he hurt you, take a moment today, sister, to consider the fact that maybe you were walking karma for that man. Maybe you were intentionally sent into that man's life to show him just how good it can get, just to take all of it back and for him to never experience that level of love ever again. I'm confident of it. My dad is an example of that. A lot of my exes are examples of that. So many exes that I have to this day, sisters, are in my DMs, are still trying to reach out to me, contact me, because they're like, I'm in love with you, Lay. Like, you were the best thing that ever happened to me. And I'm like, look, I can't do nothing for you, partner. I can't do nothing for you. And it's not because I don't have love for them, but you snooze, you lose. I don't want you anymore. You were better off taking advantage of the opportunity when I actually liked you. When I come up off you, I don't like you no more. Okay, so I am living proof. If I was to show y'all my DMs, y'all would be like, Lay, there is no way that this many men are trying to re-enter your life years later. And it amazes me because why are you talking to yourself in my DMs? It's been years, dude. Get on. Like, please, I rebuke you. But it's so true. And they come back, they'll try to plead their cases and some of them stay away. I don't care. You gonna feel me regardless. But a lot of times as women, we are walking karma. We come into men's lives to teach them the lesson of a lifetime. And it's something that just stings forever, and that's something they have to live with. You don't have to live with that. You get to go on and reap the benefits of everything being new in your life and never having to put yourself back in such a traumatic environment. Why would you want to go back to him? You remember what it felt like to be with him. Am I wrong? You remember the days that he left you out in the cold, the days that he was barely communicating with you or treating you like a side piece, juggling you, acting like he had options. Make him stand on that shit for life, sister. Make him have to really live with it forever. That'll get him, okay? So take a moment today and just realize that maybe God literally used me as karma for this person. God knew that I was so special and so powerful and just so full of love that he sent me into this person's life, not only to teach me self-love, but to also show that person how deep love truly is. And now that I've removed myself and chosen to walk away, he has to live with those withdrawals indefinitely because he will never experience a love that I offered him ever again. That should be your peace. Y'all think I'm worried about my exes? I'm not. I know that I was the best thing that ever happened to a lot of those men. And they even will admit it themselves. Like, they don't even have a problem saying this out loud. And it's because I gave them a high that they've never been able to find in another woman again. And it's because I was genuine. It's because I loved them so deeply. It's because I was pure with them. And I poured and poured and poured into losers. So eventually, they will all suffer, sisters. And it's not your job to be there to hold them when they finally realize that they lost the best thing that ever happened to them. You stand your ground and say, look, I'm sorry. You should have got it right while I was there. And because you didn't, another man is now. Okay? So you are walking karma, sister. Take a moment to realize, like, God literally sent you into that man's life to be his karma. God was like, the only way that I'm going to get this man to understand the things that he's doing out here is wrong is by sending him the best woman possible into his life for him to fuck it up and then him to have to live with it for the rest of his life. That's the only way I'm going to get him to learn this lesson is by sending this amazing woman, this beautiful woman, whatever it is. He is literally going to have to live with the fact that he messed up the best thing that ever happened to him while you reap the benefits of your brand new life. Let him go and make him have to live with the fact that you were his karma forever. Okay? So let me know if this message resonated with you in the chat, sisters. I know that so many of you were literally walking karma for these men and you don't even realize it yet. But I'm telling you, them tables gonna turn. Everything is going to have to come back down eventually. And that man will have to live with the fact that he lost the best thing that ever happened to him. Okay, so you got this, sis. I'm proud of you. It takes a lot to choose yourself and stand on business. But if I showed you where your life was going to be this time next year or even 5 years down the line, you would be like, Lay, why am I even tripping over a loser when I could have a chooser? Why am I stressing over somebody who barely did anything for me when my new man is literally laying his life down for me? What the fuck was I thinking to be settling with a loser? Okay? That's how you're going to talk to me in a few years. And I want you to come back when it happens. And if it's already happened, put it in the chat, sister. Like, I love it when y'all finally get the love story of your life, when you finally align with true divine love because you refuse to settle. But it will happen, okay? So I love you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Like I said, if this resonated or if you feel like you was somebody walking karma, sister, put it in the chat. Y'all know I love to hear y'all stories and what's going on in my sisters' lives, but I'm so glad that you were able to get through this episode today, and I cannot wait to see you back here for the next episode of the podcast. Love you so much, sisters, and I will see you guys next time.